When I went to California, I was never Bob. I was Lucy's son. And then when I finally got married to Doris, we go to North Carolina, I was never Bob. I was Doris's husband. And now I live in Leonard, and I'm never Bob. I'm 100 years old. So there's my story. You got it all in a nutshell. My grandpa, my grandma immigrated from another country and met here. Since that time, the farm has been in the family continuously from one generation to the other. And
skip mine. You know, Dad, it's just, you wouldn't see him all day long. So I have two sisters and, obviously no sons to take over the farm, but I worked all the time in Fargo, and so Mom and Dad babysat my kids. So Chris basically grew up here.
Helping Grandpa and learning, seeing what he's been doing, and so I developed an affection for it. And
when I was growing up, we didn't help much us girls with the outside. We got the disc, and I remember Dad would make us wear long sleeve shirts and jeans, but underneath that we had a bathing suit. So the minute that he left the field, we took him off, because if you're going to have to be out in the sun all day, you might as well get a tan. Of course, I'll probably regret that down the line. Okay, I grew up on a cattle farm, and I never got to see a calf being born, because that was kind of just something you didn't see, that type of thing. So one of my favorite pictures of Chris and his girls is he's got them up at 7 o'clock in the morning helping AI. So that's the big difference between our generation.
We have 5 daughters now, and they do help us a lot on the farm. They for sure, they do a lot of the cattle work with me and my hired man, my first cousin John. We were farming then, I would say, in a conventional sense for the most part. Some conservation-minded things, but essentially we're pretty much conventional farming. And then, a friend of mine, Tyler, he's a good friend from childhood at farms north of Leonard. He eventually went to 100% no-till, and then it wasn't a few years later I followed him as well. And so that's kind of the path that our farm's on now. Is we're really focused on conservation and no-till or a regenerative type farming, if you will. It's kind of the path that we're headed towards on both the livestock and the farming side. We're about half livestock, half cow-calf operation, half like a row crop type farm. So
I'm just really glad to see this growth in regenerative farming. I just from what you think of the way we've handled our land, then I think of Tyler out in the gumbo, and he could be farming like everybody else around him, but he's just taken this bold step, and I'm glad he took Chris along with him. I'm pretty proud of that, and I'm glad that they're sharing that. And and it's fun to be driving along with someone maybe, and there's a beautiful black field, but then I see the one with the stubble, and I'm going, yes.
My dad was progressive. I was born in 1922, and we tried a no-tilling. That we couldn't make it work because you couldn't control the weeds. But it didn't blow, because before that, in the 30s, that's when this land, a lot of it was devastated because of the drought and the wind.
To me, it all made sense once you start thinking about the soil, that it's not just an inert substance, that it's a living organism that lives and breathes, just like you and me. That approximately in every acre of land there's 2 to 3 cows worth of living biology beneath our feet, and they need to be fed and watered and cared for just like any other animal. And so when you think about it in terms like that, it was easy for me, because it got raising cattle and thinking it that way, it just clicked for me that we need to care for the soil in that way. And so now it's just a matter of figuring out the best way to do that for us and our operation, because every operation is different and unique and has their own way of doing things. And so each operation that chooses to change from a conventional mindset to, it has to figure out how it works on their farm as well. So it's a big learning curve, and it's fun. It's fun to try new things and do something different, or at least for me it is. And so it's very rewarding that way. And then now that we're 4, 5, 6 years into this, we're seeing the actual change in the soil. Along with that, we're trying our best to reduce herbicide, insecticide, and fungicides, to our best of our ability, and then also become less reliant on synthetic fertilizers as time goes along as well. So we're just reducing those things and changing our crop rotations, and it seems to be working.
During the Depression, my grandpa Joe got a job as a fence foreman, and that was around the grasslands, the Cheyenne grasslands. So Dad had to drop out of school to take care of the farm because Grandpa took that job. How old were you when you dropped out?
I was an 8th grader.
An 8th grader.
And that is when the government bought up 75,000 acres here, and it's used for public grazing. But it had to be fenced. And so he was the fence foreman. My dad was a horse lover, and I was a horse lover too, and that's why we always had horses. Because they used to plow the Red River Valley with horsepower. They'd bring the horses in at noon for water and a rest and in the shade. And my brother and I used to run out there, and we were in diapers, but he put on a horse.
Because when I think about Grandpa in his lifetime, he started with horses, and then electricity came and cars came, and then right after the Industrial Revolution, all these changes came through your lifetime up to now when we're GPS equipment. I mean, what you've seen is makes me wonder what we'll see by the time I pass. The changes.
Yeah, we have so many tools along with the technology to do things. The evolution wasn't only in horsepower or in the mechanical end of it, but on the research end of it. And I remember when we first got hybrid corn, and then the technology of artificial insemination, all of that. And it takes a lot of energy and work to do it, and he did a terrific job.
Dad always has to come down and check out the farming, and some of his best things are after Christmas called and they talk farming, and then he can tell me all about what's going on. Oh, I don't know if I do it that way, but...
I'm very thankful. Grandpa gave me an opportunity to take over. He was fairly well retired, when I come back from service and started slowly working back into it. But, he was gracious enough to help me along and give me the opportunity to get started. So I probably had maybe a little better start than maybe some people, But we built back into it, and it's been, very rewarding. So without Grandpa, helping me along the way, I don't know if I would have had a different path in life maybe, but I'm really enjoying it and trying to make it better for the next generation. So we'll see. We don't know what that'll be. Grandpa had 3 daughters, and he waited for a grandson to come. I got 5 daughters, and maybe one of them will be interested, or a husband, or maybe a grandchild. I guess we'll see. See what the future holds.
This peaceful, wonderful little place on earth, God has allowed our family to be here this long. And it's a thing you can't put into words. It's just something you have to experience. If I have anything to say about this interview, is family and how we've been together. It's been precious, very, very precious to me, believe me. And that's what makes these waning years I have, with good memories. What a wonderful, wonderful blessing that is. That is a wonderful blessing. You guys can take up the rest of the story now.